I am very excited about this video. I am going to be showing you the insides and the outsides, maybe a couple extras, of what is included and what is inside these Christmas junk journals that I've created. They have been in the makings. I am also going to include some information at the end of the video on how you can purchase these journals. So make sure you stay tuned to the end for that. So we're going to start with Baby Tree here. I'm going to put her aside for a moment. They are each going to come in their own little pouches that I have sewn. That is hers. They are both hardback. They have fancy spines. They are floating binding so that when you open the book, no matter what page you land on, you can pretty much flatten it out. It makes it easier for you to document, journal, look through the book, whatever. They all have vintage aspects to them as far as what is included in them. There's going to be lots of handmade goodies. I actually crocheted. There's a crocheted bow in each one. So let's kind of start with the cover. So this cover is pieced together, different die cuts that I've used, different mixed media techniques that I've used. This one has a tree. It's more of a matte look on the tree, but if you, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, if you move it around a little bit, you can actually see some shimmer underneath the snow effect that I did, so it makes it look really pretty in person. The color is like a lighter pink, a little bit more on the softer side than what I would normally do, but I wanted to try and do maybe more pastel-y colors. The spine does have raised detail on it. This is all pastes done through some stencils that I have. And then you'll see this little heart eyelet that I've punched in so that I could attach my string and my beads. This is your back side. Has nice texture to it, nice coloration. There is some wax that I've done on this as well. The entire outside of the book has been sealed. Let's look at the side with the beads. Most of these beads are glass beads. This one in particular is a vintage plastic bead. My daughters told me it looks like that piece from that Disney movie, Big Hero 6. I see it. Do you? And there's also a metal bead. There is a little metal key. There is a vintage pearl button. Nice little unique button or bead right there. Again, glass beads. You can kind of see that. And I have also made, with one of the Tim Holtz globe pieces, whatever you want to call these, I made a little tree. So I put a tree in there, and there is some beads in there to give it that cute little snow effect. So that is in there. Let's get into the insides, shall we? I'm going to zoom in and adjust just a bit. All right, so as far as pages, that's a good question. There are 3 signatures in here. I want to say there's more than 80 pages in here, but if you want me to specifically count them, send me a message when you ask for the info and I'll let you know what I count. So first page, I did make a nice little pocket on the inside. There's some hand-dyed lace in here that I got from Yuki, a cute little pin with a heart, or a paper clip with a heart. I have done different die cuts and also inked with some distressed oxide. There's a printed ticket from one of the printables from Little Bindi from Johanna. I have done some embossing with those 3D embossing folders that I love. So you have some nice embossed papers. I did the deckled edge on them, so you can kind of do with this whatever you like. There's the Christmas trees and there's the sweater pattern. There is some distressing throughout the book. You'll kind of see that here and there. I didn't distress everything, but it is in the book. There's a nice little die cut deer, a nice little sari silk that's been sewn on, vintage rickrack. I did use the Prima Frank Garcia Candy Cane Lane collection for this, but I also do have some hand-dyed papers, and we'll see those as well. This is your next page. Nice little tuck pocket, some more embossed paper with those 3D folders. This particular paper here is discontinued. It's been discontinued for some time. It's from the Martha Stewart collection that we all used to see in Michael's, and that was actually a wrapping paper. It's really nice. It's really thick. It has a nice texture to it, so I really like the way it came out with the books, how they look on the inside. And you'll see different things that I did with that as well. There's some more hand-dyed lace, hand-dyed paper. This I got from Chiquita, and I got quite a few hand-dyed papers from her. You'll see them as well in the books. They are archival safe, so that is a nice plus. Here's some copy tea-dye paper. This is some acetate, actually, with lace on it. There is some ledger paper, some die cuts that I cut out. That is from Laura by Laura. That's a really cute collection. There is some nice wax paper in there. I don't know what, I guess it's not really wax paper, but there's snowflakes all over that. That one's really cute. There's a hand-dyed doily in there from Chiquita as well. Another pocket. And I also made some tags. Each one of these is going to come with at least 2 tags. And this one, and they're all handmade by me. There's a nice little 3D flower. We've got some nice crackle paste effect. Some nice shimmer. And then there's the back. Tucked in there really cute. There's a nice little charm in there. A little bow charm. Some eyelet lace. Another little tuck spot right in here. Another little embossed paper. There's some more vintage rickrack. This rickrack, you'll have to look close up because it's so light. That actually is like velvet. That is gorgeous. And this actually opens up. So if you take this off, that opens up. So you've got some nice little hidden tuck spots, or you can keep it open, whatever you want to do. There's a nice little bow, a little silk bow in here on a paper clip. That's a nice little die cut on top of that nice paper. Some nice little puffy balls. Nice tuck spot. That tuck spot is embossed, so there's that nice little sweater 3D look to it. Sorry, I did some stamping on here as well, and here is your second tag. These little bits are pieces that I got in a D-stash from Chiquita. This is the flower from Scrap Diva's little flower dies. Nice little scraps on there. Some stitching. That one was fun to make. I did some painting on there as well. Nice little die cut. Stenciling. Guest check, hand dyed by Chiquita. Cute paper, more of her hand dyed paper. There's some vintage sheet music. That is the original tape that was on there. I didn't add that on there. Some of them I did add, but these I did not. You see how nice and vintagey those are. They're discolored. I did make sure to put a nice strong binding because this paper is very delicate in some places. So I did make sure to sew in some washi in the middle so that it would not, you know, so it'll last you a little longer. There's a nice little die cut there that I sewed in. There is an envelope right here in the middle of this one, in the middle of this signature, and it does open. It has a magnet, and I put a nice little vintage thank you card in there with a deer. Kind of goes with the look of the journal. More tea-dyed paper or hand-dyed paper. There's a nice rub-on die cut. This is an actual vintage crocheted edge that I cut to fit in here. I did seal the edges so that it would not continue to run. There is a nice Christmas tree on a bulb pen in here. A nice little hidden spot for journaling. And that's actually material. That is a fabric washi that I got from Jayme with I can't remember anybody's name. I can't remember her name. I'll put all the links in the bottom. And that's a die cut from Scrap Diva Designs. And I did do a nice little die cut. This die is from Stamp Market. A nice little, kind of looks like a specimen, but you get the idea, with nice little die cuts on there. Those are little Laura by Laura die cuts. I did include a package of vintage snowflake sequin that is unopened, so I decided to put that in there and share it with whoever purchases the journal. There's some more nice paper. It's like dark on the outside, but then it has that nice sheen on the inside. There's a vintage playing card with Santa. Here's a nice little die cut, and there's that paper that I talked about. That's that vintage, well, not vintage, but long discontinued wrapping paper from Martha Stewart. More rickrack. I did a nice little belly band there. This is handmade paper from Rosehill Paper Cottage. It's beautiful. Included that so you could make whatever. A nice little die cut attached there. There's some nice little film. These are all just different locations. I'm not sure of the locations. It was given to me by a friend, but I decided to put one in here. There's some more of the 3D effect die cuts. There is some more stenciling. A nice little tuck spot here, paper clip. And this is avocado dyed paper, and there's that crochet bow that I made. A little bit of tulle. Nice little tuck spot here, nice little glassine bag, and a nice little piece of glassine paper in there, untouched, so you guys can do what you want with it. I love the pattern on that. Nice light paper. This one has a cute little clip to it that I attached a vintage ornament to. He's really little. He feels really delicate, but he is made of metal. You can actually stand him up if you want to. But I will let you guys do what you want with these. And you could keep it in here. You could put it on your little tree, whatever you want to do. But it is part of the book. A nice little die cut here that I collaged on top of. Did some distressing, inking. Added some sparkle here and there. And then there's some tickets inside there. You can do what you want with that. Love the way this color came out with this paper. It's gorgeous. There's a nice little vintage Christmas sticker that I attached. Some nice texture with this particular piece. You'll have to feel that. I can't even describe that. More tea-dye paper. Some of these edges are really rough. Really like the way that came out. More paper, other side of the paper. This is a heavier paper. This is a watercolor paper that I attached to the other end of the glassine bag. Added a little die cut from the collection, and then I also made this from some scraps. So added some bedazzling, kind of made it look like, you know, what do you call those? Like a ribbon. My goodness, that's kind of getting in the way. All right, kind of like a ribbon, and then attached a little die cut to the top of that little leftover piece that's from crochet. I got that from Chiquita as well. This trim I sewed in here. I do like to be a little creative with my trim. So that is in there. Really, really different. Like the way it feels. And I put some ribbon on the back side to give it some strength so that it would maintain the shape that I sewed it in. Nice little tuck spot with some embossed paper. And these are stickers. So these are washi stickers, but if you really look on the back, you see there are some circles on here too. So they're a little bit different. You can kind of do, you know, whatever with those. So I put that in there. You guys can play around with that. Another die cut deer with a little bit of paint just to kind of give it some interest on the page. Nice little hand dyed lace from Yuki. A nice little puffball pin. It feels so good. Where at the back side, I did a nice little tuck spot here for you to kind of stash some things. I did do this from a tutorial that I found from Pam at the Paper Outpost. I'll make sure that I link that. Here's a tiny little specimen. This is actually from the stamp market though. So I did a little decorating on there, did some color inking. That is in here. Die cut with a little leftover piece of the lace. More die cuts. This is more of that Martha Stewart wrapping paper. You get the frame. I inked that for you. A 3D snowflake. And these are my favorite on this back side, on this back pocket. I did some angel wings for you and I inked them somewhat. You can still get creative with those and kind of just do whatever you want with them. Whatever you want to create, put it in this journal, put it on a page or not. Use it for something else, maybe some card making. Whatever you want to do with it. It will be yours once you get it. You decide what you want. So that is it for that one. Let me zoom out a little bit. And then it will go into its pouch. It will have a closure that I'm still working on. I also, depending on who purchases this, I will personalize this. And generally what I do is whoever purchases it, I will send you some requests so that you can give me some personal information on you. And then I will tailor a package to go with this based on your likes. So sometimes I will include vintage ephemera, maybe even fabric, maybe a few handmade pieces of that I've made. It just depends on, again, what the person who purchases this tells me, kind of what their personality is, what they like, and then I will put together some more special, you know, a special package. I do have these pockets that I plan on including envelopes that I got from Chiquita that she made for me. I will fill these up with just different ephemera, again, based on whoever purchases this, you know, kind of what they tell me that they like, what their favorite things are, you know, things like that. And I will include that in it as well. There's a couple of vintage pieces that I've set aside. You'll get fabric remnants from possibly the cover or the pouch that I made. So that is the first one. Number two, more on the red side. This one is poinsettias. Love the way this one came out. You can see in the middle how it has that nice little sheen to it. That's just some different mixed media paste that I've used, different painting. We've got gold on there. The binding also has some raised effects to it from the paste and some stencils that I use with gold. And there's your eyelet for your strands that I've included. There's your back side of your book. Again, hardback book. There are 3 signatures in this as well. Also a hidden spine floating, so it will lay flat for you. Let's look at the beads that I included. A lot of these also are really pretty glass beads and glass seed beads. That one is very, very cute. Very unique. I made sure to, search that out for you guys. There's a nice little puffy, and I also included the Christmas tree for this one as well. It looks really cute and hangs really pretty on the side. There's a nice little vintage button on here as well. All right, so let's get into this one. Kind of the same look as far as the inside. We do have some pockets in here as well. And there's your little die cuts that I've made for you. This one's a little more plain. You can still paint on that. There's your Martha Stewart wrapping paper die cut. Also did some of the embossing folders for you. So that one is in here as well. A little bit of de-stressing on these pockets for you. Some inking. Let's put those babies back in there. This one also has the Frank Garcia Candy Cane Lane paper collection. This one has a nice vintage piece of lace that runs front and back. So it goes through the entire journal, and it kind of covers and sandwiches the books, the books inside together, the signatures. On the front, I did do a nice little trim of trees. I forget who I got this from a Patreon that I was part of for a while. This die cut is a Tim Holtz die cut. Really cute. There's your little Santa. Nice pocket there as well. I did do some washi detail, lots of stitching detail throughout. Hand-dyed paper. 3D embossed paper with trees, deckled edging on that as well. I also included different vintage ribbons as well as hand-dyed lace and trims. There's a nice little bulb pin with some nice little charms on there, little hearts. Nice little paper, notebook paper that I cut out. A glassine page. This is also Martha Stewart, discontinued forever ago. Printable from Ruby and Pearl XO. A nice little extra die for you to kind of tuck in there if you want. I sewed 2 papers together to give it a little bit more strength, to make it a little thicker. And that is hand-dyed paper from Chiquita on the inside. Hand-dyed paper from Chiquita. Vintage piece of material that I sewed on as a tab. It actually has a cardboard backing because this was like one of those designer pieces that are like in those designer books that have like, stuff for you to choose from, kind of like the wallpaper books. Well, this one was one of the fabric ones. So it has like a nice thick cardstock backing behind it. Guest check dyed by Chiquita. Vintage music pages with the old like discolored tape that was already attached. I did some stenciling. There is some marker. I did a nice thick piece of paper in between so that it would give that older paper some strength. You'll see little bits of washi. This is the printed tape that I like to do that's kind of grungy. This piece I got from Jayme as well. She did die cutting on that, but those are the vintage stamps. I love the way that looks there in the middle. Russie Jane. Sorry, that's Jayme's page. But I'm going to link everything below, so no worries. There's some more of the distressed and vintage tape, kind of discolored. That was, again, already part of this paper. No, nice washi for you. Some more stenciling. Back side of those other sheets that we've talked about already. A nice clip there. This is your first tag. There's some nice colored cotton. This is actually from some Martha Stewart, long discontinued Martha Stewart. Well, they were flags, I guess, like banners, but I kept that. And then there is your tag, a nice little handmade flower that I did. little bits from a D-stash I got from Chiquita. Lots of stitching on this. This one is really thick, so it feels really, really good. There's the back side of that printable from Ruby and Pearl XO. There's your glassine, Martha Stewart. Notebook paper. Vintage embroidered. That is so pretty. I believe I got that one from Michelle, who is... Where did I get the paper from? I should write down people's names. I just can't remember. There's too many people. I'll make sure to link her. I did a nice little faux leather in here as well. And then on top of it is a wax seal from Yuki. There's a nice little doily that is inside this particular signature. There is some trim that I tied in a bow. It's like a bunch of it, different lengths, tied in a bow and then sewed it on here. There's some vintage rickrack. There's your Martha Stewart wrapping paper. Love this paper. The texture is fantastic. Wait till you feel it. Here is some lace that I got in a D-stash. Nice little tuck spot for you. I also included the vintage snowflake sequin in here as well. This is unopened for you guys to do whatever you want with. There's some nice little trims that I made, tags throughout. A nice little vintage photo of a little baby boy playing in the snow. That is cute. Dated 1931 from Crave's Studio from Fulman, Washington. That's so cute. I didn't even pay attention that had something on the back. So I included that. Nice little printable grunge tape, a little piece that I die cut, stamped on top of. Here is your crocheted bow that I made for you, and I sewed it into the page. This particular music sheet, I actually backed it with some paper to give it a little bit more, a little bit more strength. Also, this piece is part of the Martha Stewart discontinued line. These were the banners. I just cut it to size, used one of Jayme's fabric washies, and then I just glued one of the sentiments from the die cuts from Scrap Diva. There's you some more hand-dyed paper from Chiquita. Vintage Christmas card that feels so good. I got this from Susan, who is in the Old Schoolhouse. I will link her below. I love that it's written in. It just feels really pretty. So I made that the center of this signature just because I love the way it looks. Look at the pink. So pretty. A nice little tuck spot. I decided to use this big green paper clip there to hold this in place. I believe this is from Maggie's Journals when I was part of her Patreon, or maybe I purchased this. I think she did a sale on her Patreon. She zhuzhed up the envelope for me. Really grungy. And then I also included a check, a vintage canceled check. So cool. That is in here. Little vintage flavor. And then here is your transparency. Another, can you see that? Another photo of just a location, just countryside, mountains. Not sure where it's from, but I thought it looked good. Some nice little zhuzhing here. I did some stenciling, grunged it up a bit, and did some stamping on top of that little die cut. More of the die cuts. I did some words on top. That's what do you call it when you rub-ons? There's another of the minis. This is also again from Stamp Market. There is some vintage fabric on the inside, and then I just did some stickers and stickles, and then just kind of inked it up for you. There is a vintage milk bottle cover, whatever you call them. A nice little die cut, or from the paper collection. There's a nice little crochet tidbit there. That's actually, I think that's dyed. I think I got that from Chiquita as well. Nice little tuck spot. There's another one of your little die cuts that I made all kinds of stuff for. Pieces of the trim. Made that look like snow with all of the multimedia that I had on my desk. I can't even tell you which ones I used because I had so many bottles of so many different things. And there is some little clay bits that I put on there. Some sequins. Gave it a little shimmer. There's the other side of that doily. This is our die cut that we got last year from, was it Simon Says Stamp? That was like the freebie that we got for December of last year. That is so cute. I've used it so much. Nice little trim. There's a little tuck spot. This is actually a printable from, let's see, Little Bindi from Johanna. I did some stenciling on here. These are some printables from Johanna as well. I think this one came from the Graphics Fairy, and I just grunged it up a little bit with ink. There's a little piece of sari that I sewed on there. Another tuck spot printable from the Graphics Fairy. I also made you another larger tag. There is your Santa die again. This piece is from the paper collection, Candy Cane Lane. There's some die cuts. There's some clay pieces. I did paint, stitching, some gloss. Flower is from a die with Stamp Market. Little piece of trim there left over. And then there's your back that's also painted. This one also is nice and thick. A little pocket in there. Here are your tickets for this book. I like those colors. I got these from Ada Valley on Etsy. She sent me those. I did do a little embossing on this glassine paper. Again, this is from long discontinued Martha Stewart paper. A little tea-dye paper, stenciling, vintage trim. Looks like it's been dyed. I believe that was from Chiquita as well. Another little tuck spot here. This is a handmade paper. I forget who I get that from entirely. Don't even know. Nice little band, belly band there. I did a nice little piece from the Candy Cane Lane collection. That's in there for you. More trim. That's really, I really like these. I just got some of these, so it was nice. Just came just in time for all this. But the stencils are Tim Holtz as well. Nice little vintage doily. This doily is from Chiquita, hand dyed. A little stamp for you. A little Santa card for you there. First time I've used that Nuvo glitter paste. Man, was I nervous to use it because this was already put together. And I didn't want to do it on top of this and like mess it up. And then what was I going to do? But Raquel from Paints and Glitter encouraged me to do it. She's like, it'll spread on like butter. So I'm like, okay, here goes nothing. Did it, and look how gorgeous it looks. And that is in here. This looks so good in here. A little bit of the misting spray from Tim Holtz. Nice little bulb pen with a little bit of bling. Hand-dyed trim from Yuki, lace from Yuki. Here is another die that I did for you with some collaging, just different pieces of, you know, leftovers from the book, some dies. That's the back side. And then on the inside, you just have like a little die cut from the paper collection. So that is in here. More coffee tea dye paper with the vintage grunge, or the printable grunge tape. There's the back of the glassine that I also embossed. There's the back of that bag. And there's Santa. He's a printable from Little Bindi. Die from Lora by Lora. Die that I got from Natalie on my Crafty Carousel. There's some, you know, little tidbits that I put on this page as well. There's a nice snowflake on there. Look at this. Glitter. Vintage material. There's your backside. I forgot to show this to you on the other book as well, but these are some of the tags that I made when my kids were little, which they're in their 20s now. And I bought this when they were babies because I would crochet items for them when they were babies, crochet clothes. And I would put this inside of the stuff that I crocheted for them, or blankets or whatever. So I had these made early 90s. So I am using those for a few journals that I make. There's the back side of that vintage lace. Tuck pockets that I learned how to make, again, from a printable, nope, not a printable. I'm like really tired. From a tutorial from Pam at the Paper Outpost. I will link it. Here are the die cuts that you get with this one. There's that Martha Stewart wrapping paper. You need your angel wings for this journal as well. And that will be yours. These are inked. That one was inked, and that one's just like the gold foil. So that is your back side. Oh, so cute. Love all the little tuck spots. That's a really good idea, Pam. Thanks for sharing that tutorial with us all. A little bit of inking and distressing. There's the back side of your book. With this one, you get a hand sewn pouch. This is from a vintage Christmas napkin that I found somewhere. So your book will be delivered to you in this. Again, I will customize whatever I add to the package for each journal. I will customize it based on the person who purchases it from me. I will do some goodies for you. So if you are interested in either one of these babies, make sure that you message me on Instagram, ask all the questions, and I will give you specific details on pricing, shipping, and anything else that I decide to include with this. All right, thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day. Besos. Love you. Bye.